Hello. Hello. I am Alisha Richard, and thank you so much for viewing this video. In this video, we will be doing a decade review, and girl, let me tell you all about it. This is something that I have learned from Marie Forleo, and I was like, I absolutely love the philosophies and everything behind it. So I actually created a worksheet, kind of so that you could have the questions at your access. And all of that will be in the link below so that you can download it, print it, and actually do it yourself. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about the decade review. What I want you to do is think about the past 10 years because 2020, we are about to be rolling into a whole new decade. And in order for us to really know where we're going, we must acknowledge and recognize the things that we have done in the past 10 years. And I don't know about you, but I know that your life has so much potential. I no longer want you to start working out and quit, or I no longer want you to think about that business idea and then stop. I no longer want you to struggle with your confidence of, well, can I do it? Or I don't know. I really want you from here on out and in this new decade to be so intentional about your next move. Because a lot of times, have you kind of just found yourself like, oh gosh, I'll just go with the flow? Well, in order for you to be extremely successful, like how you want to be, you have to start planning, and not just planning any kind of way, but you have got to be really strategic about your next move. So with the decade review, you are going to pretty much do a self-evaluation. And with the self-evaluation, you are going to go through and ask yourself some questions and be honest with yourself. Because a lot of times, let's be honest, okay? We are so busy. We're moms, we're wives, we already have a job, we're thinking about our side hustle. And a lot of times we just don't sit and reflect. We never kind of just pause and think, well, was I a good mom today? We never think, well, was I a good wife today? We never kind of just reflect and say, what were some of the accomplishments that I have done in my life, and really reflect on it and say, girl, you did good. A lot of times we are so busy going so fast. And what I want you to do is girl, slow down. That is really what I want you to do. I want you to slow down, and I want you to do a decade review. This decade review, I actually printed out. It's called the A Rich Life Decade Review right here. And I want you to take at least 45 minutes, okay? Tell the kids to go in the room. Tell your husband, you give him a little bit later on. Look, with this decade review, I really want you to reflect and take a self-inventory and really think about all of your accomplishments and even the things that you genuinely sucked at. Because if we are honest, all of us have something that we really can improve on. And with a decade review, what you're going to do is ask yourself some questions. So I have it actually right here, right? And these are the questions that are asked in the decade review. So the first question is, what's the main thing that I've struggled with? A lot of times we all have struggles. So with that first question, I want you to think about your struggles as, did you struggle with your weight for the past 10 years? Did you struggle with your confidence with the past 10 years? Did you struggle with trying to find the love of your life for the past 10 years? Did you struggle with trying to be a good mom for the past 10 years? Did you struggle with this business idea that you wanted and you couldn't do it? So those are just kind of examples so that you could begin to let your mind just kind of flow in those areas, right? The next one is, what type of relationships that you've established in the past 10 years. I want you to think about all of your friends. There's a quote that says that you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around. So with this next decade coming, I really want you to think about what's the income of the people that you are hanging around with. And girlfriend, if they are not making the money that you want to make and that you desire to make, then you seriously need to have more friends, or friends that have achieved a lot more. Let's say, for instance, if everyone that you are hanging around, no offense to anybody, but if everyone that you are hanging around still has a high school diploma and you know that you want a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, then you might want to change up the people in your circle, okay? If you are making $30,000 or $40,000 in your circle and you know that you want to be a millionaire, girlfriend, look, pull closer. for us to level up in 2020. So with this A Rich Life decade review, what we are doing is going through. So we first talked about our main struggles, whatever your struggle may be. The next thing we're talking about is relationships. When you know the type of people that you are around, then that way when it's time for you to like go to the next phase, that way you know where you have been and where you are going. So this A Rich Life Decade Review is totally just for you to kind of just do a self-evaluation. If you decide that you want to do it with a friend or do it with the husband or do it with whoever, that's totally up to you, okay? So the next question is, what are the things that you are extremely proud of? I want you to think about all the things that you are proud of. Did you give birth? Did you get married? Like what happened? Did you get a degree? Think about all of the things that you were proud of, because a lot of times as a woman, we just do things and just go to the next. We'll do something and we'll go to the next. But we never really, there's a song by India Ari and it's like, I'm having a private party. Ain't nobody here but me, my angels and my guitar singing, baby, look how far we've come, yeah. Look, girl, I need you to have a private party. I'm learning how to love me, celebrating the woman I've become, yeah. So I need you to think about all the things that you've done, every single thing. With me, I opened a business in 2011. That was one of the things that I am extremely proud of. So even if you didn't open a business, think about whatever that is that you are so proud that you have accomplished. If it's just whatever the most simplest thing may be, if you just say, I am extremely proud that the Lord blessed me to be here right now, that you have the use and the ability of your limbs, hey, whatever it is to you, that is yours and that is what you are proud of. The next thing, because I have my notes here, y'all, is some questions. We diving deep. The next thing is, what are the main things that I've learned over the past 10 years, right? So over the past 10 years, what are some of the things that you've learned? It could be that you've learned about yourself. It could be what you've learned about your career. It could be some of the favorite books. I'm about to get ahead of myself. But what are some of the main things that you have learned and you really want to document and say, you know what, I am so proud of this moment? The next thing I want you to do, because we have a few questions, I'm not sure how many questions, but I just started going through. The next thing is, what are my biggest lessons? So the biggest lessons that you may learn, all of us have different lessons, right? So your lesson may be, not being in a toxic relationship. Your lesson may be not learning how to trust again. And after you've been disappointed, your biggest lesson may be, learning as much as you can so that you can get that promotion. Your biggest, your lessons, the lessons that you've learned is so many things. So just think outside the box with this, okay? Think about, the next question is, who did I disappoint? I'll say that again. Who did you disappoint in the past decade? Think about that, because when you think about this question, it's almost like, was I a good mom? Was I a good wife? Or, could I have spent more time with my children? These are the main characters that are in our stories. And when you think about, did you play the role that you did? Were you a good friend? These are just really good questions that you need to ask yourself, because that way when 2020 comes, girl, you're going to be the best mom, the best sister, the best friend, the best choir director. You're going to be the best person you could be. So think about these things. The next thing I want you to think about for the past 10 years is, what did your finances look like? And this is something that a lot of people do not talk about at all. How did you manage your money? How did you manage your money? How do we manage our money? I want you to think about it, and I actually want you to set realistic goals and think about, how did you manage your money? If you anything like me, did you find yourself on Amazon clicking away with one-click payment? Girl! Did you find yourself online making purchases that you ain't had no money for? Oh, girlfriend, wait a minute. Let's talk about those craving sweet Jesus. Were you over there eating crab legs and it wasn't a part of your budget? Oh! And it wasn't a part of your budget and you sitting over there eating, okay? So So let's keep it real. Like, these are real things that we need to talk about, because when 2020 gets here, even if we do Amazon, we don't do it as much. But in order for you to know where you are going, you gotta realize where you've been. So this is a good exercise. like you need to tell your friends, like, look, y'all need to do this. Okay, so the next thing is, think about in the past 10 years, how did you do with your health? Okay, were you consistent or not consistent? Were you struggling with exercising? Were you, felt like you just didn't want to do it? I want you to be honest with yourself. Be honest, because honesty is the first, if we are honest with ourselves and honest with our past, then that way our futures will be so much better. So ask yourself, how did you do with your health? Like, did you find yourself eating because, eating like inappropriate food because maybe you were depressed, or maybe you wanted to feel love, or maybe you felt overwhelmed as a mom because you're doing so many things. So think about how you were with your health and write it down. Write it down. Okay, so the next question is that I want you to ask yourself over the past 10 years is, did you maintain a prayer life or a spirituality, or, like a prayer and meditation part? In order for you to reach the next level, regardless of whatever your religion may be, I believe in God, or whatever it may, maybe the universe, whatever you call it, how would you describe your relationship for the past 10 years? And I want you to write it down, because a lot of times if we don't have that prayer life, if we don't have that meditation, if we don't have that faith, then it's almost like something is missing. Like, if I don't pray throughout the day, it's like something feels like it's missing from my day. So think about, what did you do for the past 10 years when it comes to your prayer and your meditation? And just write it down. You may say, I didn't pray at all. Hey, you may say, I only prayed 5 minutes once a week. But what did that look like for you? All right. So the next thing is, how did I show up in the world? I want you to ask yourself this. How did you show up in the world? Some of y'all may say, I showed up at all. I mean, this is to be honest. When you reflect about it, think about, how did you show up in the world? Think about, did you create that business that you wanted? Did you, did the right post that you were supposed to post when you were supposed to post? Or, how did you show up? Were you confident in who you were, knowing that, you are somebody, knowing that, that you have something that is inside of you that you really want to give, but you keep hiding it. And the point of us doing this decade, the A-Rich Life Decade Review, is for you to really sit and get centered with yourself and say, you know what, I didn't show up at all. But when 2020 comes, when this new decade comes, I plan to rock and I plan to give life my all. All right, so we are going to the next questions. I'm almost on my next page. Okay. So this is the last page. It's like 3 pages long. I don't know how many questions. I was just going right on through, letting the good Lord lead me, letting the good Lord tell me what to tell the people, okay? All right, so I'm going to go a little bit faster because this video and audio is getting a little long. Okay, so how did I make a contribution or an impact to the people in my community? I really want you to do your self-evaluation and think about, what was your contribution? What did you do? Because in order for, everyone makes a contribution. LeBron James makes a contribution. Oprah Winfrey makes a contribution. I want you to think about, what was your contribution? It may have been singing on a choir. Your contribution may be, volunteering for the PTO. Your contribution may be, like me, I said, well, I'll start a podcast and, help people. So did you coach a team? You know what I'm saying? Like, did you do a food drive? Did you participate in a food drive? Did you pay your tithes and your offerings? Hey, these are questions that you really need to ask, so that when 2020 comes, you will say, you know what? I will make a contribution this time. Okay. So the next one is, what were my favorite books? In order for you to go to the next level in life, you have to educate yourself, period. Either you are self-taught, or you watched the video on YouTube, or you Googled everything. You have to educate yourself. And I want you to start reading books if you have not started your journey on reading books. I do have another video where it's like the 3 best books that creative entrepreneurs should read. So you could start there by going to the next video. I'm sure the video is somewhere. But you need to educate yourself. And if you don't put a book here, and don't put the Bible. Well, I mean, you can put the Bible. You can put the Bible, but how much of that have you been reading? Let's just be honest. So if you put the Bible, that's good. But, like, what other books have you been reading besides, like, the sacred word? Okay. And these can be books that, whatever you've read in the past 10 years, kind of just put that down and just be honest with yourself. The next thing that you need to ask yourself, girlfriend, is what was your relationship like with your spouse or with your partner or with your friend or your significant other, whoever? What was that relationship like? Because a lot of times relationships mold us. They help mold us anyway. Like relationships, whoever you have a relationship with, they impact your mind, they impact your progress, they impact, your thought patterns, they impact who you become, who you are. So I want you to think about the relationships that you've had with people and write that down. Now, these aren't like your friends. These are like your really, really like your husband or, like your main partner. How would you rate that relationship as far as you? You know what I'm saying? Not them, but you. How did you show up in those relationships? The next thing is 2 more, and then I'll leave the last 3 questions so that you could do, because you got to download it. Then the other 3 questions. You got to download the packet. Then the other 3 questions. This isn't the last one, but it is a couple more after this. It is, was I consistent with my goals and my dreams in the past decade? Were you consistent? Did you stop? Dang. Did you stop? Or have you found yourself where you know what your business name should have been, but you didn't do it because you were scared, about what people were going to say. You were scared about how people would have perceived you. You were scared about, what will my mom say? What will my sister say? What will my sorority sister say? What would the church say? What would everybody say? And you thinking about what everybody else say, but what God says or what, your inner person says. Girl, let me tell you, okay? From here on out, in this new decade, in this new way of thinking, believing, and achieving, and goal setting, what I want you to do is I want you to think about what did you do this past 10 years and how could you really just start? How can you just start in 2020? And in the videos following this, girl, I am going to tell you how you can start. Okay, so anyway, if you would like to get a copy of the worksheet, the book, all you need to do is sit down. Get off of Facebook, get off of Instagram, get off of what social media platform that you are on, and I need you to do the A Rich Life Decade Review. I was so inspired by Marie Forleo, and I saw that she did it, and I wanted just to kind of do it in my own way. So, I'm going to give credit where credit is due, y'all. This is how we do, okay? But this is like the Decade Review, the A Rich Life way. Do it. Download it. The links will be below. If you feel like, in closing, if you feel like you like this person right here, if you feel like you kind of like me just a little bit, I have a podcast, right? And on the podcast, we always sing, we laugh. We'll be like, I woke up this morning, the sunshine was shining. I put on my happy face. I'm living, I'm able, I'm breathing, I'm grateful to put on my happy face. Girl, let me tell you, if you like a little bit of all of that, then you need to listen to the podcast. Every week on the podcast, we have amazing interviews with so many different multifaceted entrepreneurs who are really doing their thing. They're moms, they're wives, there's good sisters, good mentors, whatever. All of it is there. So make sure that you visit us at www.arichlife.co. Being rich and living a rich life is just not being rich in your finances, but we know that's coming too, okay? Amen, somebody. But we are going to be rich in our minds, our bodies, our souls, and in our business. Girl, everywhere you go, somebody should be like, you know what? She is living a rich life because she is dope as... Sorry, mama. I ain't gonna say the word, y'all, but you know what I mean. Okay, so anyway, I am going, but thank you so much for viewing this video. If you would like to have, like a weekly pep talk every time, I have over 90 episodes, over 90 episodes right on the podcast. Go there. You can find so many good resources to help you really just level up for 2020, like we're doing this for the rest of our lives. Like this is a new level, okay? So thank you so much for viewing this video. If you like anything that I've said, make sure that you share it with anybody that is like a work in progress and you know they need just a little bit of help, because we all need some help, okay? Nobody's perfect. We all need help. But this video is really for you to do a reflection, to see where you've come, and then that way you know where you are going, and you're not just going to bump into success, but you will be intentional about everything that you do. Thank you so much. Again, I am Alisha Richard, and I pray that you are living a rich life. Thank you for viewing this video. I love you. Sending hugs, kisses, and prosperity your way. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.